So if I get confused, please forgive me. Basically, the meeting, we had a couple of people attend via Teams, and the system didn't work very well, which was very unfortunate. We couldn't hear them and they couldn't hear us, so it was wasn't quite that bad, but probably near enough. One of the speakers there was the Biosecurity Commissioner, Dr. Catherine Cliff. And her game is to, well, I'll read out what she's supposed to be doing. She advises New South Wales Minister for Ag on pest management, weed control and regulatory reform to protect primary industries and regional commuters. Well, I asked her a question about my whole story is why are we letting people sell cactus in Bunnings? And she raved on about treating ticks and cattle on the Queensland border. So I don't think she was up to the job she had. But she's only been there. September 1st is when she was put on, and she's got another 2 years to go. Anyhow, but in the finish of it, she decided that she would let us. She would refer the question to somebody else. As I said before, we've had a meeting 2 months since, and we haven't been in contact. We haven't been contacted about that issue. Roy Butler was the other speaker. For some reason, it worked better with Roy. But Roy's main game was talking about firearms and stuff. And I'll let Penny do the rest. All right, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah. Through you, Mr. Mayor, something that kind of came up at yesterday's minute that relates to the Blueies. I'm just trying to make sure that if a general punter on the street goes into the Shire and says there's a problem with weeds on the riverbank, that the staff know that they have to contact Kasserine Quarry. Because I did get that.
Department heads and myself will see it and I'd pass it on.
Because I did have a comment from a general public person that hadn't happened, but that was a while ago. So
Might have been the old Bluey system.
yeah, it was. Anyway, it's sort of.
Thank you, councillors. The time frame of the minutes is that you might bring this up with your chairman and you see the minutes don't arrive until they've been actually passed.
No.
So, from me, could you express, can we do something about that provision of minutes that are more time frame relevant? Because it seems that the minutes of the Castlereagh County Council don't arrive until they've been okayed by the next meeting. Do you understand what?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that's necessarily true.
It used to be, but certainly it used to be. That's exactly what. And but we've been pushing the point, Mr. Mayor, of getting them as quickly as we can and pushing them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been a bit better lately.
I was of the opinion that they were sending the minutes to you guys. They're sending a draft of the minutes. And I'm pretty sure that was happening 2 weeks after the meeting.
What was happening was it was coming when I was on the committee. It was coming to me, and then I was forwarding.
Yeah, yeah. And if you didn't do it, I did it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we should have it how we get going. So
they don't send it directly to council.
Occasionally, not all the time.
Okay.
That's my comment.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that the minutes we're talking about at the next council meeting is more relevant to the time frame.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. So I'll formally put that. All those in favour? Thank you. And item 3 on the reports of delegate is the interagency support service held on Monday the 15th of June. Councillor Derrick, seconder please. Councillor McKay. Councillor Derrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not a great deal to add further to the minutes. There's a couple of new faces at the meeting, and as always, lots of news about the programs and services that are happening in Warren Shire. I guess just one thing that I would like to reiterate is the upcoming Grow Services Day, which is being held at Victoria Oval on the 17th of July. So I think that's getting bigger and better every year, and it's great to be able to have it in the school holidays because there are plenty of activities for kids. I think it might be the fourth Grow Services event that they've had, maybe. But yeah, certainly worthwhile attending if you haven't previously done so, and also making sure that everyone knows that it is taking place during the holidays. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillors, any comments? Thank you, Councillor Jarrett. I'll formally put that. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 9, gentlemen, reports to council. Item 1 on this line is on the forward there. Warranshire Council Code of Meeting Practice. Can I call for a mover and a seconder to get this underway, and then I'll call on the General Manager to comment on this. Councillor McKay, Councillor Slattery. General Manager, could you just briefly enlighten the councillors on where we're at in this, please?
So, Mr. Mayor, middle of page 2 of the report onwards just details the slight differences, and there are only slight differences because when we did the initial analysis to change into the code that's now going to be revoked, we were able to keep a reasonable amount of our current, the previous code of meeting practice that was related to the 2021 model. Because things are now in place, for example, right now we're live streaming, and that's how we're recording the council meeting. That will continue because we're supposed to be recording the council meeting, and that's how we do it. The other major change is going back to having our 30-minute councillor briefing just before the council meeting, which we will start at the July meeting. We will continue to have the Merrill Minute as well for different matters, different relevant matters that are different to what we would talk about in the 30-minute councillor briefing. Same types of rules for planning decisions. If you can remember, the automatic division has to happen. The Merrill minutes. There is some restrictions have been reinstated that are not as relevant as in changes as you would think. Mayor or chairperson considering disorder is probably less complicated. The order of business will be the same, and of course, Merrill minutes will allow some expenditure of funds on works subject to the council resolution. The code that's just been will be revoked. Pretty well stopped anything like that unless there was a officer report later on in another meeting. We just very lucky for Warranshire Council, a reasonable amount of, we'll call it the Warranshire Council Code of Meeting Practice 2025 is actually very similar to the 2026 that's getting revoked because we didn't change too much.
Long and short of it is the briefings to you from staff and myself and Deputy Mayor can continue. Well, can start again, but it is very much against the wishes of the minister at the moment. So I watch this space. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind. So just to be clear, the pre-meeting briefing sessions can only discuss matters that are in the business paper about to be
No,
met?
no,
So what are the restrictions on that, please?
there isn't.
Okay, excellent. Happy day.
But it's certainly going to be used as I say, item 1 will be councillors, is there any matters on the business paper that you need clarification and help with, etc.? I mean, that was the main purpose.
Yep.
The practicalities, councillor, will be you will have a list of what I'm going to bring to you. And if there's any other matters prior to that that we need to discuss in camera, we can, like we used to.
Thank you.
And but what I'm warning is the minister doesn't see it that way. He got defeated in the upper house and got revoked. Where we go political from here, I'm not. Is above my pay rate. Anyone else got any questions? Thank you. I'll formally put that as it's on the board there. All those in favour? Thank you. We're now moving on to reports of the General Manager and the outstanding reports list checklist there. In your document. Just looking for a mover and a seconder for that, please. Councillor Kinsey, Councillor Certainty. Thank you, Councillor Kinsey.
I just move that the General Manager explain the report to us, please.
General Manager, I think you wish to highlight.
Just going through really quickly, Mr. Mayor, page 4, it's really just some tidy ups in relation to the drought resilience plan and the implementation project. Very, very soon, the signage will have all been installed around 3 shires, and it'll be the grant will be reconciled. We have engaged a firm to do both the Destination Macquarie Marshes website and Destination Warren website. Onto page 5, it's just some tidy ups of some ARIC matters in relation to reporting to the last ARIC meeting in relation to work health and safety matters. Page 7 is what's noted and organised in relation to councillor fees that will start from the 1st to the 7th. Bottom of page 8 and mostly page 9, just tidy ups of ARIC matters that have been provided to ARIC at the last meeting, and also a little the new page that was now put into the middle of page 9 is that quarterly budget review that was emailed to all councillors. Some tidy ups on page 10 in relation to what's happening on the levy project, both milestone wise and recommencement of works. And including on page 11 there's a storage container down there that's fitted with battery charging and lighting for all the pumps, etc., getting trickle fed electricity to keep everything ready to roll. Page 13 is tidy up of is arrangements in place for that Tiger Bay sewage treatment plant works with using the leftover money of that final project. The plant replacement program on page 14 is was reported to the plant committee, is now tidied up by resolution today. Page 15 onwards is matters relating to the water conference, and Councillor Kinsey is heading with the town services manager to Ballina for the local government New South Wales water conference. The next three contractual matters that have all been finalised through regional procurement initiative and are now on our contract register. And that's it, Mr. Mayor. If there's any further questions?
Jumping out at councillors. Councillor Houston.
Yeah, just a very quick question. The signage that's getting put up, page 4, where's it going to be?
A very large sign. Most of them are all at the information centres. By GPS coordinates to at least 2 locations in our shire and the 2 other shires. I can't tell you exactly, but all determined by the other 2 shires and Economic Development Visitation Manager. But big main signs of 3 metres by 1.5 country heartline at each or near the information centres.
Thank you.
I understand councillor the Canberra ones are in. And there's one at Canberra yeah, so I can't tell you exactly here, but they've that's going to be obvious to us. Any other questions?
Just a quick one, please. For the General Manager. I understand that our interim Divisional Manager for Health and Development has now left us. Just a question about who is covering that role.
I am, with help of the Project Administration Officer who's manning Health and Development Services area and getting help from the Health and Building Surveyor at Narromine and a consultant planner in regard to complicated planning matters.
Been broken into three roles at this temporary stage. And even when our active divisional manager was here for a month or so, the technical part was still outsourced from the planning side, and the technical health and building side was outsourced.
Thank you.
And we're thinking about where we should go. Any other comments, questions, guys? Thank you, General Manager. I'll put that formally. All those in favour? Thank you. As recognition of being a healthy town, our next item we will stand. While we're recognising Warren to keep awareness of healthy lifestyle, Council will be standing while dealing with item 2 of the General Manager's report, which is our committee and delegates meeting list. On page 21, I'll formally look for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Surdity, Councillor Derrick, Councillor Surdity.
Just moving the recommendation, thank you.
That list is comprehensive and there. Is there any comments from anyone? Not, I'll formally put that. All those in favour? Thank you. Very short help today.
Very helpful.
Item 3, works progress reports, infrastructure projects. The infrastructure projects on our list from item 3. Recommendation that we received and noted. I'm looking for a mover and seconder. Councillor Kinsey. Councillor Cleesby. Thank you, Councillor Kinsey.
Move the recommendation, Mr. Manager.
Basically, the main part of this is our levy project, which is progressing. There was slight hiccup over a water level with the rain and some translucent water coming out of the dam, which was a little bit frustrating, but it's underway now. And, I understand that we're on schedule and budget. Councillor Kinsey.
Page 27, class charging set up in Nevertole. Where exactly are we going to put that?
Yeah.
road from the
Tringy side.
from the, I'll call it the truck park area that's owned by Warrenshire Council. That area there, a Ningen end of it, we believe, if it's accessible and if someone goes and builds it, because it's really a grant system. Someone else goes and builds it. We're just someone who will be able to have a commercial matter with leasing some part of the area.
This Councillor Kenty, you're obviously aware that we're trying to get for proper truck caravan car park on that side of the road, and the planning for that and the planning for the charging bays integral to each other. So we'll, some of our discussions even later today advancing finding monies to do car park on the other side of the road with some facilities. The plan's been done. We're just trying to find monies from government. Question.
Yeah, I just wondered that if somebody parks a car where you propose, which is, I don't know how far it is, be a K&a-half from say a cafe or a pub.
No, we're talking across the road.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, I just
Everything I was talking about is directly across the road from the hotel.
Totally agree. Thank you.
Sorry about the confusion.
No worries.
Your concerns are over the truck park, and the parking is also mine as far as where the current one is sited.
Yeah.
Any other questions? No, if not, I'll formally put item 3, received and noted the work progress report. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Item 4 is Local Roads Congress IPWEA, which Councillor Kingsley McCluskey, myself, General Manager, and the Regional Manager attended. Looking for a mover and a second, Councillor Kingsley.
I wasn't there.
Sorry, wrong one. Councillor Wass, Councillor McCluskey. So can I get you to move that, please, Councillor Wass? Councillor Kinsey second, and Councillor Wass.
Yeah, I'd move the recommendation.
There's a full report of the roads conference there in your papers. Again, I think it's very worthwhile for us to be there at the cutting edge of where roads and road building and where we should be. Has anyone got any questions or comments? Councillor King.
I'm probably a bit cynical here, Mr. Mayor, but in the middle of page 30, Congress theme is shaping policies for stronger communities. It doesn't look like that when you look at what's going on in Victoria Park.
Victoria Park was high on the comments, mate.
I should have mentioned
you've got to remember, this is IWPA is an organisation with a number of our staff, including general manager and members. It is a structured from an engineering point of view. Even with our local engineering as a group, even in our area, like how best to do things. And General Manager, if you wish to comment on briefly on the IWPA, please.
A pretty reasonable industry body that actually both the government and the opposition, they've got their ear. So they actually do come to that institute for some advice relating to public works engineering, which is really important.
Yeah, good reputation from even quite interesting as well. People, and good discussion, good networking between the guys that actually build the road.
So, Mr. Mayor, I've passed a folder of information around with some pictures of evidence that the 5 of us were there. Councillor Wass found his really quickly. Some very good pictures of Councillor Wass.
Yeah, right.
Mayor working hard. The mayor working hard.
Well, you know, the outcome was I asked the minister a question. The minister answered it. I had lunch with the minister, and today we're having 20 bureaucrats here in town. So it's a success as far as I'm concerned. And I've got a good faith for Ray. Councillor,
Through you, Mr. Mayor, am I allowed to agree with that? Just wondering, was there any more discussion, findings, thoughts on Victoria Pass?
no, they're keeping that pretty. It is a political thing that's really hot at the moment. The minister's reiterated that she'll have a plan by the end of the month. But they have hired one Australian local firm and 2 overseas firms to put proposals together. Where it's going, I'm not quite sure. It is very hot political. I did note in the state government was brought down this week. There is a certain amount of money in a contingency fund to look after that, and I understand that Tomago is offer as well. The sad realization, councillors, is that as far as our rural road network, I think it's safe to say that state government budget was handed down this week was slightly disappointing in the funds for regional and rural. Certainly what I would like, or any of us would like. I think I can safely say regional, rural, including the local mayors association, are quite upset about the amount of money that's spent on the eastern side of the divide compared to the western side of the divide. Any other questions or comments? Again, worthwhile venturing outside our town to help that cause. I'll put that formally. All those in favour? Item 5 is our delivery program progress report on page 37. Looking for a mover and a second for that, please. So, Councillor Mackay, seconder Councillor Houston, Councillor Mackay.
Move that the report be noted and ask the GM to explain anything that needs to be explained.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So let's just, Mr. Mayor, have looks at red. That's the red is probably the one we need to make sure. Now, don't forget, this is the first year of a 4-year delivery program. On page 439, obtain expressions of interest for at least one care provider to establish satellite office shop front in Warren. That may be happening. There is a fair amount of Marathon Health and Headspace work starting to happen around Warren, which I'm very pleased about. But still more work to do. Page 42, bottom of page 42 is just we've still got some action to do in relation to that opportunity classes and selective high school work. Of course, mostly really facilitation as education department at local high school. Mr. Mayor, what we've attempted to do with this particular report is try to be much more KPI orientated, and we're still working on that. And Eric have asked us to really start to show a lot more of actual actions that relate to KPIs of the organisation. Page 56 is no action at present in relation to Chamber of Commerce and businesses. We're pleased that we're actually having a pretty good go ourselves with traineeships, and hopefully around 4 of that fresh start's going to happen to help us move our community along traineeships. Page 60, no real action with development of industrial land for obvious reasons. Page 85 is rail transport access to Warren. It's one of the items that we may get to with our meeting Transport New South Wales officers today. Page 112 is the action to date in regard to the return and earn program. That is a matter that's being attempted to be attended to through the health and development staffing specialists and attempting through the Ulmar Waste Depot committee. And if there's any more queries, Mr. Mayor.
Any comments? Councillor King.
Any idea on page 91, investigate Nevertire Colli flood study?
Waiting for the main Warren study to be finalised, which will take another 12 months before we apply for any further funding for other locations.
The principal flood study council to put to the insurance council that we safer than not. Sorry, Councillor Gibson.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the General Manager, page 43, development of a housing initiative strategy. What do we think that's going to look like?
That's budgeted in 26, 27, if you okay the operational plan and estimates, and it's mostly relating to it will try to encompass most housing initiatives, but mostly relating to I won't say aged care, but older
Senior over 50.
Right, that's what I was hoping you might say.
Yeah, I think that there's some money in next year's budget to investigate that and work and find out if there's a need, which I think anecdotally there is. So we need to quantify that. And there's other housing problems we've got with police and other such workers, including our staff. But broadly, that's where we think we can go. Any other comments, questions? Councillor Hughes?
Sorry, page 67, develop and deliver a customer service framework. Host a customer service workshop with local businesses. We did bring that up at the last meeting, or was that with Susie? That the economic development, the morning tea with.
No, that's the economic. It's on top of ours. It's actually we want them to try to get hours organised, some training within, and then eventually the business community trained where possible to provide customer service.
Yeah, okay, sorry, just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just a comment. I'm not sure if we can make this particular item 5 a little bit more succinct, but it's 100 pages. And maybe a suggestion would be that we only detail things that have been updated, perhaps, in it, but it's a lot. It's probably a third of the book in one item. And
It is. How can I say this? It is. I'll pick the wrong word. It is expected that we report once a year.
No, twice a year. Every 6 months.
Every 6 months.
so this will only happen.
Yeah. So last one was to the December meeting, and the next one June, and then the next one will be to the December meeting. And
There's a process of the in the act that in planning. There's a certain structure that we've got to do, and every year it starts with our informal meetings, and it ends up with this, and it's basically reporting on the actions, how we've acted, and have we got to the planning structure. It is unfortunately a bit got going to the dentist, but we've got to do it.
Understand.
so, Mr. Mayor, turned into a very, very valuable document at every June meeting, because it becomes a main part of our annual report. That really is 3/4 of our annual report, showing the community what we've done in the last 12 months, because that's exactly what it is.
And IPNR and all the reporting, there is a structure that's got to happen, whether it's our council or any other council. Any other comments?
And Mr. Mayor, we're not easy on ourselves. Some of those yellow, some people could argue are green, but we want to make sure that we're actioning things.
I'll put that formally. All those in favour? Thank you. Moving along. Item 6. This is the preferred supplier status relative to local change and commercial service extension to 30th of June 28. I commend this to you guys, and I also commend that item part 2 of that is that this can be added to. There is no point. I'll formally move it. I'll move this myself if that's all right, and I'll look for a seconder, and then I'll continue. Councillor Cerdity second. There is no point having a community where we don't use our community. If we as an organisation drag everything from outside, we haven't got a community. So this is high on my priorities, and it is good to see. Obviously, when we go through that list, there might be some that shouldn't be there, and there might be some that are not there, unfortunately. That's why item 2, or the paragraph 2, has been put in there, and I strongly recommend that we accept this, and I strongly recommend to staff that we use it, because economic development and our way of life involves us having people on the ground doing things, not just importing people to do X, Y, and Z. Any other questions or comments from this? Councillor Clearsby.
Through the mayor, I would just like to say that a lot of these businesses in town, by just the way their margins they're using, the council as a business would not be able to buy a lot of products outside the town as well as they could in town. So I think strongly we should be using it as much as we could. I'm not saying all businesses, but there's a lot of corporate businesses in town that work on very small margins because of the way they work normally. So it's better for us to be using local business, and at least that's supporting business and jobs and whatever.
I agree 100%, Councillor. And, you know, there is also the factor of pride in your community, and most of the local businesses have some pride in their community. And my feelings is any way we can make that easier within the rules, make that easier and is advantageous, A, to the town, and B, to us as organisation. Anyone else got any comments? If not, I'll put that as up there, please. All those in favour? Thank you, Councillor. Item 7, the Warren Long Daycare Incorporated funding request. Looking to remove it, Councillor Derrick, seconded Councillor Surdity. Councillor Derrick.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm happy to move the recommendation, but I imagine there will be quite a bit of discussion and questions. I guess just a comment from myself is that I think there's an amazing group of local people who have volunteered their time to form the Warren Long Day Care Incorporated Committee. They've done so in a relatively short period. I think the information that we are requesting, in addition to the business plan provided, is for the purpose of due diligence, of course. I don't think that's any reason to be overly concerned. I feel quite confident that this will be successful as an organisation, and I hope that we can reassure ourselves that supporting them to make sure that this works is the right thing to do. So they are looking at reopening on the 5th of July. So there's only going to be a short period, which I think they've managed quite well in terms of communication with the families and their staff. So remains on track and won't be too much of an inconvenience to those families who definitely rely on this service. And I guess on that note, the need for long day care is without question. So I think that we do owe it to the community to do what we can to support them in this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I'd follow that a little bit for just information. This was the current provider is a for-profit service, and decided announced in the 1st of May that that she would no longer run the service as a for-profit. We then had the general manager, deputy, and myself had meetings with a group of ladies who then had to jump over a great number of hoops in a small amount of time, regulatory and licensing opportunities, and we put to them that we would be in principle support that we would see some need to do like a business study. Their business study was done in a week with some help from the previous operator, and but not a lot. There was a lot of shall I say, slightly rushed things that had to be done quickly, both in the licensing, the legal requirements, and everything else, considering that the building itself is owned by a different person from the actual operator. All those hoops were jumped over quickly because time was a fray, and the 2-week closing was approaching. My personal my personal thinking of this, that this is something that the community needs. It is something that I think the council should not run, but the community needs. And I remember 30 years ago when the preschool was in the same boat. This is personal experience, and I hope bear with me while I tell you. The preschool, for those who are not aware, used to be down next to the Shire Yard, and obviously that building, whilst Councillor Mackay knows that building intimately, was not fit for purpose for a preschool, as well as that the long-serving preschool operator was retiring. There was great lacking in funds and for that preschool. A committee which I was involved with, and with other people involved with, sold that building and got the preschool granted where it is today. It is now moved from Project 1 to Project 2, and I think they're talking about Project 3. I look at that as how this community can get things done when you help them along. I wouldn't have, and the people involved in the preschool back 30 years ago wouldn't have been able to do it without the help of Warranshire Council, and I was strongly thinking that preliminary help with their cash flow is something that we could do. There are certain in that report, there is certain things that we would grant them some funds. We would also guarantee a loan for them for a certain amount of time, with Consiglio thinking that the loan or the facility would be monitored and drip fed as needed. The time frame is such, and I'll take questions and answer. The time frame is such because of the up there is to give Deputy Mayor Derek, myself, General Manager, is that we don't delay the implementation. What I'm asking is that you, within the facility of what the report says, I'm asking you to delegate the power to the three of us to facilitate this just from a time frame point of view, so that the facility can carry on with their cash flow. The one thing that I can tell you is that the grant structure for a non-for-profit facility is open and it's out there. So in the long term, because it's now will be a non-profit facility, it's available for grants that the current operator could not and wasn't allowed to apply for. And I welcome questions, but I think our anticipated response of what we've put to you is reasonable, and I think needed. For example, I think there's 3 of our own staff, at least 3 of our own staff families use that facility for long day care, and it since the announcement, I've been overwhelmed with people coming to me asking for assistance, and I think the report that you've got there is measured, and I commend it to you. But I'm open. Councillor Brill.
Mr. Mayor, firstly, I'd just like to say that I think that as a community we have to do something, and this looks like a reasonable way forward. I have a couple of concerns about it, which certainly don't mean I don't support this, because I absolutely do. I just think that reading through the business plan here in the budgets and those and the rest of these documents, my concerns are there's no indication in there that I can see that they are going to do anything differently. And the old adage of if you keep doing the same thing and expect a different outcome, then you're mad. That worries me. That unless this organisation does something differently, then they're going to end up in the same spot. And at the moment, they are operating at a $189,000, almost $190,000 operating deficit. Unless something changes, that's not going to change by some miracle. Some of the information I think that is required, I think, to council before we go handing over money is what's going to happen differently. I think, and some rough figures, and I'm certainly no accountant, but it looks to me like they need another 11 full-time position equivalent children there to be break even if nothing else is done. So that's one of the things that we need to know is how are they going to get those 11, and there might not be 11, but it's about that sort of number based on the number of enrolments and the operating or the capital they get from those day-to-day payments from parents, right? So it's about 11, which probably means more like 18 part-time, and that's a lot of kids. So that part of it concerns me. Are we just kicking the can down the road here, and this organisation is going to drop into a hole in 6 months' time when the funding runs out? So that's a concern. I understand that there are other entities in the town that are interested in assisting, but none of that is laid out in these documents here, and there are a few holes in it. So the plan to get those maybe 11 kids, or it's full-time 5 days a week kids, or some other number part-time. And I'd like to have seen, there's a lot of zeros when you look at the financial document here where the grant section there is all zeros. I'd like to have known, and like you sort of pointed out there, that this opens, now they're not for profit, opens them up to other grants. I wonder if it's known at this point, or will be known at any time in the near future, what the likelihood of receiving some of those grants are to fill that funding gap if they don't get those 11 5-day-a-week spots in there. Now, as a council, I'm not saying we shouldn't do this. In fact, I'm going to vote for this recommendation, but I am worried that it's an activity of kicking the can down the road if nothing's done to change the day-to-day behaviour, assuming that the previous proprietor is out because it's not profitable. If that's were the case, hypothetically,
I'll just
what
break.
changes?
I'm just breaking that. That's not what the previous operator.
Okay, but we don't have any other information. We have a forecast here based on what someone knows about the turnover of that business, whether it's based on the books previously or not. If it is based on previous turnover from the last 12 months, like a forecast should be, then they're operating at a loss. So there's no projections in this. What ifs? What if this happens in a positive way? And what happens if this happens in a negative way? So either the figures here indicate that it operates at a loss. That's the forecast figures. It's not a business that I'd be getting into personally because of that, unless someone could demonstrate what they're going to do differently. Now, that's all that is just a statement about we need to go into this with our eyes wide open. We need a little bit more information about the likelihood of getting some of these grants to understand that if we are going to operate at a net loss in the next 12 months, is there going to be another request for similar support later on? And if so, then we'd have to look at that again. We should do this. The repercussions of not doing this are far greater to our community than if we stump up $180,000, which, by the way, I don't understand how that's going to be spent either. There's no detail in how that money is going to be used. That's another thing that I think council should be asking for. But yeah, I guess that's my statement. I'm all for it, but we need to understand that if this goes down the gurgler, then in terms of the money spent and no change, then what happens in 12 months' time? We have to be prepared to understand how that's going to look. And a projection or a series of projections in a matrix would help us with that.
I agree, Councillor. The business case in the commercial world would not pass muster. I do appreciate that the group that did it have the expertise in diligence and governance, not the expertise in doing a business case. The business case was done for free by RDA Rana on the knowledge that they had at the time. There's holes in it which staff have made them aware, and the reason for the actual wording of the recommendation is that we are not just throwing funds over the fence to blindly let them go, that we will be involved in the governance of those monies. I think I can say that the group that came to us and the structure that have made a quality that they would not let that happen, and they would change. They would their facility would be managed well. I agree with you that it is a needed thing. I don't think it is something that council should manage actively, as say Dubbo Regional does with one or two of the facilities in Dubbo. I don't think that space we need to be. I think this is an opportunity for the to get them over the cash flow hole that is in the first 3 months. And I am aware that from the emergency fund and some of the grants are just, you can't apply to it unless you start. Once you start, the funding is, I can't say 100% guaranteed, but it is there. That's why the zeros are there. Councillor.
Thank you,
Sarah.
Mr. Mayor. I would just like to comment that I think the issues raised by Councillor Brewer are very much the questions that we had when we last met with the committee. Yes, the net profit of negative 189 doesn't look great, but I think it was conveyed to us that that was sort of their worst case scenario with all the zeros in the grants. I guess a case of not wanting to count their chickens before they've hatched. And the likelihood of getting those grants is a big question mark. If they had plugged in some figures with the grants, it would have looked a lot better, but also uncertain. I think they did also make the point that the amounts they've requested weren't hopefully going to be needed. Best case, they would get other grants and not need to draw down on that loan from council if that's the direction we go. So there's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes still, and more information that we do need. But yes, I think that was sort of the conservative figures that they came up with that would be more of a safety net than hopefully something they definitely need. So, thank you.
My envisage, councillors, is that the first 3 months with the cash flow basis will be fixed by the grant that we will give. I envisage that the loan may only be drawn down minimally once they get the process of, I understand the grants underway, but you can't apply them if you haven't got them. So their structure is fixed. They're now incorporated body. The legals have been done. In the real world business case, if I was a major bank manager or an investor, I'd probably what I see on paper, you wouldn't go anywhere near. But I think it is something that the community needs. I think the small amount of money that we're gifting them to get them over there is something that they can do. Councillor, sorry.
Yeah, and I agree with Andrew. I think we should be doing it, but if this thing runs away and it gets more and more in debt, that's not good. So I wondered if council would be privy to a quarterly review of them or whatever.
That is envisaged.
Yeah, okay.
That's part of the conditions.
Thank you.
So the governance, we would be involved in the governance of the money. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Sturdy.
Just an observation. We often have a lot to do with the child and family health nurse, and she was mentioning the other day that on average there's 21 children born in Warren within a year. So you would have to assume that some of those children would end up in the centre. So I mean, it's 21 kids one way or the other. They won't all end up there, but there's a good chance that a fair few of them would, so that would bring the number of children attending up to a reasonable amount as well.
But to be fair, Mr. Mayor, if I may, there's attrition, isn't there? So kids squirt out the top, kids come in the bottom. It's struggling with the numbers it has right now.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if I may, if it's of benefit, there's a lot listed in the report of things that council may look to, information-wise, get from the now not-for-profit business setup. The reason for that is to get an idea and very good, accurate picture of one key item in the midst of where the council does go to loan them formally, very structured. It'll include reporting back probably every month, I would suggest, rather than quarterly, so you can have a very good feel of how the business is travelling. The bigger ticket item is, do they have enough to demonstrate their capacity to service the debt, ultimately? that's one thing that would need to be established. But certainly, if a donation or grant is being offered, as more startup capital to retain the service, consideration would be if they do close the doors for an extended period, it's very difficult to then reopen the doors and have people recommit and rejoin if they've been forced to make other arrangements. So there's a high chance the service could probably be lost the longer it stays closed. So trying to be active in the community, it makes sense to try and keep them with their head above water initially. But certainly there's a lot of scrutiny that needs to happen. Levels of assurance by way of information to assess that capacity to service debt, if that's helpful. It's something that's been discussed fairly well at this point. And that's the reason for seeking all the additional information from them before anything happens.
Anyone else? Well, I'll formally put what's up on the board. We'll ask for the information. Is everybody aware that we're going to delegate Deputy Mayor, myself, and General Manager, and Brad, Administration Manager. All happy? I'll formally put that. All those in favour? Thank you, Councillor. We'll keep going with we'll move on to reports, Divisional Manager Finance and the Reconciliation Certificate, item 1. Looking for a mover and a seconder of that, please. Councillor Kelly, Councillor McKay, Councillor Kelly.
Basically, the recommendation that the statement of bank investments balance be received and noted.
You wish to comment, Divisional Manager?
Just quickly, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one additional item. I need to be transparent and give council all relevant information. I've put in there a snapshot of the reference that I have been utilising for performance indices, the BBSW. So that's just included, which is different to prior months reporting. It's a benefit to council. So in that case, total average yield performance of the investment portfolio as at the end of May was 4.62% earnings versus any of the following indices performing marginally better. So that was the only change. Happy to discuss
it further. Any other questions, comments? So it's okay, I'll formally put that received that note at the balance of 30, Mr. Mayor. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Item 2, the statements of rates and annual charges be received and noted. Looking for a mover and seconder for that, please. Councillor Sturdy, Councillor Was, Councillor Sturdy.
Just moving the recommendation, thank you.
Comments from anyone, including Division? If not, I'll put that. All those in favour? Thank you. The Works Progress for item 3, the Works Progress report, finance and administration. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Kelly, Councillor Sturdy. Councillor Kelly.
So basically, information be received and noted.
Through you, Mr. Mayor.
You may, Divisional Manager.
Just for council's reference, a more accurate timeline on the electronic records management system project. I have finally received an update and been very firm with the provider on outcomes needing to be delivered.
just for your reference, pushing them aside, subject to a 90-day termination clause. So that was pitched and voiced at 10 days notice and prompted a response that I've now restructured, fully committed and detailed view of that project being brought on board and in place. So they had progressed the background structure of the system a lot more than what they advised me. And it's the end of August is the go live date for that. So from the start of July to the end of August, the construct of the system's there. It's more a case of just fine tuning it, introducing workflows in the documents and engaging with training of staff across the board to get it up and running. Keep council updated on that moving forward, obviously.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? I'll put that formally. All those in favour? Thanks, councillor. Item 4, this is our operational plan and estimates adoption that was for advertising last month. The recommendation there, please. Looking for a movement and a second for that, please. Councillor Surdey, Councillor Weiss, Councillor Surdey.
If I can just move it for discussion, whatever you want to say, just in case anyone's got any queries.
Yeah, the recommendation there that we had one, at least one, I think only one, the submission for the draft operational plan. And the rest of it's just formally putting our budget for next year. Gentlemen, do you wish to comment, or anyone else?
It's pleasing to receive a submission, Mr. Mayor, and a great majority of that submission was positive, and there's some matters that we will look into, some matters that may be other responsibilities. If this gets resolved, Mr. Mayor, I'm looking forward to curbside recycling. We will have fun leading up to the 7th of October. Wednesday, the 7th of October is a major day, but I think there's a reasonable amount of our community are looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, it'll be like all new things, but yeah, I congratulate Ms. McLean going to trouble. She has a background in local government. I think for the submission. Councillor Euston.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the manager, I might have this wrong, but in the operational plans and estimates, I don't see anything for the library, and back on page 24 at the start of the document, there's money unspent from the budget for this year. Does that get carried into next year? And if so, should it be in that list, or am I on the wrong page?
To help me, Councillor, the page you're talking to.
Okay, so if we go back to the start of the document, to the outstanding, to the works progress report, item 3, page 24, there was a budget of 63 for the library, of which roughly 13 has been spent.
No, she's been using her special library grant to help pay for that. That pays for lots of other things, not just the investigation into the future improvements to the library.
Okay. So, but that unspent money, does that need to be captured in 26-27 operational plan? Or
there is a reasonable chance that it will be gone very, very soon, or committed for matters at the library.
Just checking it hadn't been embedded for some reason or another, but I wasn't aware of. Thank you.
Any other comments, Scott? A fair amount of work gone into this, but you know, we've all been involved before. So If no comments coming at me, I'll formally put the recommendation as on the board up there. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. We're now moving to reports of Divisional Manager, Engineering Services, Roads, item 1. Mover and a second of Councillor Kinsey. Thank you, Councillor Wass. Councillor Kinsey.
Recommendation, and also I'm pleased to see that the Martha Guy Road's getting a bit of attention. It got mentioned a couple of times at the Warren Shut. Yeah, I'm not totally familiar with what's going on at Martha Guy Road, but there was one other complaint that was given to me verbally the other day, and it was the Morn Road. Apparently water had washed over it, which I've never heard of before. So if we can get some of our people out there and have a look. I haven't seen it. I don't know whether it's fact, but it was told by somebody I believe. So I don't understand why water would go over that road.
Mr. Mayor, is that Kalimbaram Road?
Sorry, the Cremorne Road?
Compound Road?
Yeah, Cremorne.
Oh, Cremorne Road.
Yeah.
I think that. Thanks.
I hope you educated those that brought this up how our new blue system works, Councillor.
I attempted to.
Is that because you weren't aware, Councillor, or you're putting in?
Well, the two of us are the same calibre.
Fair enough. Obviously, it has been a frustrating couple of weeks in the road space with the weather, and but we're getting it. Councillor Wass.
Just note that the list of completions previously I've complimented the closeness of the budget, but this month the list of completions is about 60,000 in the red. So I'm just sort of wondering whether we can blame the weather or fuel prices or some other.
Lots of guideposts and signage work has been happening, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, the weather has been the main problem, Councillor. If you go down near the works depot, you'll find it a lot tidier, Councillor. And there's been a few, leave takings and such. The management of same as agriculture, Councillor, the weather plays heavy.
Doesn't happen in agriculture.
Yeah. Vision Manager, you need anything you want to bring to everybody's notice besides your report, which I think is very confident.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to bring your attention to page 9, the bottom item there. We were not successful in that grant application. We look for an opportunity to put in another. That's for the heavy vehicle rest area, tranche 7, 11 rest area. Yeah.
I'm still working on that. But I'll formally put that. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Item 2 is our work progress report, town services. Information to be received and noted. Looking for a mover and a second of this, please. Councillor Cleesby, Councillor Wass. Councillor Cleesby.
Just the information being received and noted.
Anything jumping out at anyone? Anything you need to bring to our notice on your report? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Councillor Mackay, sorry.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Just a question on the airport. I know we spent 40 odd grand grading the gravel runway recently. I haven't seen anywhere where the income we get from the RAAF comes in to offset that. Where does that income go?
In the quarterly reviews, you see it. Yes.
It is there, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Can you just refresh my
Anywhere between $20,000 and $30,000 a year. Only as a guess. But I mean, we see them. Saw them last week. Do look and save your beauty, money. And the grading was grading and stabilising. Very important because there was a reasonable amount of mixture, a little bit from underneath to actually try to improve the coarseness of the layer and to actually bind it a bit more, which was pretty important. That's why $44,000 worth, because a fair amount of stabilisation cost. But same as your income from sales for fuel as well. Quarterly review shows that on one side.
Sorry. Mr. Mayor, to add to that, the airports are best at timely payments of accounts. So at times it does fluctuate. You can see it's sort of pretty low, and then they'll crawl out of the woodwork when we chase them up, and bang, the money appears. But generally, from my experience in dealing with those landing fees and whatnot, they are pretty good. It's basically an honesty system that pay, whether they were here or not, unless we went detailed chasing it up.
Mr. Mayor, we actually use the Australian Airports Association to chase them up. It's one of the reasons why we remember. They do it for us to make sure of it. Between the town services manager and the AAA, we get the money eventually.
So we say through you, Matt, it's an honesty system that the Air Force reports how many grand is that done? Through that?
That would to AAA, but eventually.
Like most government agencies, when they're collecting money, they want it tomorrow, but when they're paying it out, that's what the day. They can't afford it. Yeah, on UC30. Right. Any other? Councillor Kinsey, sorry.
I'll bring up the Nevertime Oregon, if I may, Mr. Mayor. We're in nearly at 80%. 80% of 40 megs doesn't leave us a lot of wriggle room. Yeah. No.
Noted, Councillor.
Thank you.
40 megalitres is a lot of water, Councillor.
We've used 80% of it.
Take it. Anyone else? Councillors? If not, I'll put that. All those in favour? Received and noted. Thank you so much. Looking quickly at item 3, plant. Work progress the plant. Items looking for removal and seconded. Councillor Wass. Councillor Kelly. Councillor Wass.
Move the recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Wass. Is anything jumping out at anyone? Visual manager, do you bring anything to it in their notice? Schedules. Councillor McCloskey's not here, so you're getting off lightly, divisional manager. Councillor Brewer.
Just ask, please, the update on the excavator at the UMR Waste Depot. I see it was to be completed by early July or something like that. There's no time being spent on it. Are we waiting on the engine?
They just paid for it, Mr. Mayor, and hopefully will turn up, and within 1 or 2 weeks the machine's going. We are hoping.
Fortnight ago, Councillor, it was in the country. It's now in the country and paid for.
Righto, let's get it in the machine.
You're on fire, Councillor.
Mayor, we worry about paying for things before we get them.
Indeed.
Especially from overseas.
Yeah.
Councillor Kinsey,
Is it a new park that we're buying?
second-hand motor.
Yeah. We're going to look. We're going to have a look inside it.
We've been tested, video of it.
Right.
Due diligence has been done on the motor, Councillor.
No, that's right.
It's like a pig in the poke, though. You're not quite sure, but it is certainly financially advantaged than a new. Anyone else? Councillor McKay?
Through you, Mayor, I note that we're looking to repaint the swimming pool by council staff. I just wanted to know whether we got a quote from the company that did the one in Washington.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I didn't hear that. I've got a couple of staff working on it, and being very well supervised.
Yeah. And we didn't import them from the North Sydney pool at 100.
Worst area being done, 500 square metre, which is not very large compared to the pool size.
Well, any other comments, guys? Good to see the mood is light. You're going to volunteer your services to help on a paintbrush, Councillor?
I'm never painting again in my life if I can do it.
Right, I'll formally put that. All those in favour. Thank you for the recommendation. Work progress. A few minor matters. We'll move on to the Managed Health and Development Services development application approval. This is quickly, please. Move it, Councillor Kinsey, Councillor Kelly, Councillor Kinsey.
Third recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
I don't think this needs discussion. I'll put this. All those in favour. Thank you. And the works progress report for work progress report for Manager Health and Development is there. Looking for a mover and a seconder for that, please. Thank you, Councillor McKay, Councillor Houston, Councillor McKay. Anything you need to bring up, Councillor? Pretty self-explanatory there. The LEP, the major one was the LEP, that's in with Parliamentary Council. Their time frame is their own time frame. It could be anything. Everything else, self-explanatory. Unless Councillor Houston, you're on. Sorry. I'll put that, all those in favour. Thank you. As far as I know, there was no presented notices of motion or questions were noted. There isn't any matters of urgency. We haven't got confidential matters this year, this meeting, and thank you, councillors, for your attendance and diligence in the matter. At 10:35.
Record.
100 pages.
Yeah, please stay for morning tea and fly the flag with